All right, welcome back to Speak for Yourself from the Crib, presented by Hyundai. Jason Whitlock, Marcellus Wiley. All right, we're going to go out to Denver and visit our man Stink, Mark Schlereth. Mark, welcome to the show. You heard Marcellus argue the L.A. Chargers are the best landing spot for Cam Newton. I say the Miami Dolphins are. What say you?
Well, I think if you want to go right to a place where you're going to start right off the bat, or at least have a chance to compete for a starting job, I like the Chargers. Also like Jacksonville. Can you beat out Gardner Minshew? I think you can. But that may be a mess. I really like the Miami Dolphins but I still think they're going to probably draft Tua, and you're going to be holding the seat for Tua if they do draft him at whatever it is, 3, 4, 5 overall, whatever the Miami Dolphins have. So I do like your chance to compete for the Chargers, also for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the bottom line with Cam Newton is he's no longer in a position, in my mind, to come out there and say, I'm the starter. You're going to have to compete and earn that starting job.
All right, let's move on. Marcellus, big story in the NFL, a disagreement among NFL general managers and I think NFL ownership about what should be done with the NFL draft in late April. I think a lot of general managers would like to delay the draft perhaps a month because some teams are forbidden from going into the facility and preparing. They don't feel like they're going to be able to test all the players the way they would in a normal draft. Marcellus, do you agree with some NFL general managers who would like to see the NFL draft delayed a month?
No, I don't. I don't agree with them. To be frank and to be real about it, going through the draft process as I did before, right now the coronavirus didn't interrupt the draft process. It just interrupted GMs from second and third guessing themselves through this process. I think they all need to grab a copy of Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, and understand how you can make snap critical decisions pretty fast if you know what you're looking for and you know what you want. It's just amazing right now that we're really going to attach what's going on in our world and say, hey, I've seen 3, 4 years of film on this guy, and I saw him at the combine, but you know what I really need? I really need to go to his facilities, let him knock it out the park in his comfortable environment, in a tank top and shorts, if he wears a tank top. And that really solidifies my decision on who to draft. They know who to draft. They know who they want. They know where they're slotted. Make a decision. How many times do you need to see exactly what you want if that's what you want? I don't think you should delay it any farther.
Mark, thank God you're here. You've got actual Super Bowl experience. Marcellus has none. Please set Marcellus straight.
Right? No, I totally agree with Marcellus. I'm like, this is nothing more than an excuse. This is nothing more than an excuse not to do your work. Like, listen, man, put on the film. The film will tell you if a guy can play or not. You know what this is? This is a bunch of people that want to go poke and prod and go through physicals and do all those things so they have more information so they can quantify whether a guy can play or not, and so they can build in an excuse if a guy doesn't play well, say, hey, it wasn't me. Look, he ran a great 40. He did the bench press a bunch of times. He was great in his individual workout when we went to his, school, and it's our coaches that can't get it done. So we can fire coaches, rehire new coaches, and I never have to lose my job. Like, that's how I look at this. Do your job. Study the film. The film will tell you whether a guy can play or whether a guy can't play. You don't need any more than that. And I'm 100% with Marcellus. This is nothing more than quantifying your opinion as a general manager so you don't have to, or a scout, so you don't have to take any responsibility for drafting garbage. Hey, still at this point in the NFL, the first round is still a 50-50 crapshoot. 50% of the guys flame out and don't ever play well. Like, oh, you need this extra time to be 50%? Last time I checked, 50% when I was in school was an F.
Could both of you guys do me a favor after this show? Please go to chess.com and sign up, because I want to play both y'all in a game of chess. Y'all love making snap decisions. Y'all love not thinking about anything. They're making the biggest decisions of their lives. General managers and these executives, their careers on the line when they do blow these picks. They want to be able to sit down face-to-face and interview these guys in as much detail as possible. You're about to hand young people a bunch of money, and you think You don't want extra time to think about it or the normal amount of time to think about it before you draft somebody really high in the draft, hand him millions of dollars, and then figure out, oh, my God, this guy's a nut job or this guy isn't going to do the right thing with it. Of course they should delay the draft a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, a month, something to give these guys the normal preparation. If you think they blow it 50% of the time with the normal prep, what do you think they're going to do with less prep? Maybe they blow 75% of their picks. I can't believe both. I'm shocked that both of you guys think this is a silly suggestion to delay the NFL draft. But let me move on to my other favorite topic, Antonio Brown, and the possibility of him joining Tom Brady down in Tampa. This has always been rumored about that AB and Tom Brady want to play together, same place. I happen to think it would be a mistake. I think they have an embarrassment of riches at the wide receiver position in Tampa. I don't know if adding AB would be the right move. Marcellus, do you think AB to Tampa, does that make sense to you?
It does make sense. From every level, on the field, off the field as well, if you think about it. AB and his relationship with Tom Brady, I think everyone knows that they have a good relationship and they work well on the field together, which is even more important. But also, what's going to surround AB in the locker room, in the meeting room, on that field. And there are two people in charge that I know that AB would have to have tremendous respect for. And that's Bruce Arians. Everyone knows his personality. Oh, you better not mess with Sue. Sue on them one-year deals, so you know what? Sue ain't all in. It's Bruce Arians and it's really Byron Leftwich, my former teammate, who is a real good guy who doesn't just say what you want to hear, but also is nuanced enough and sophisticated enough to deal with all types. I know him very well, and he's a tremendous guy in that locker room with tremendous presence. I think that's going to give AB stability and a receiving room in terms of that core receivers, Godwin, Evans, that AB has to walk in and stay on his toes to keep up with those guys. I think that's a great situation, not a hindrance, but a blessing that AB has to still go into a room, not look around and say, it's me or nothing. It's me and other guys who can get this thing going as well. Let me show you on my best behavior that I'm still AB, a future Hall of Famer.
Mark? Slareth, you there?
Stinky Dicky Dog.
Yeah, I am here, man. Listen, as far as AB is concerned for me, there are 32 places where he's a wonderful fit if he's just under control, because that dude is a guy that you just flat out can't cover. So he's a great fit from that scenario, his ability. Bruce Arians is a 3-wide receiver guy. He wants 3 wides on the field most of the time. So I think that's a great fit. Chris Godwin is one of the most complete football players I've watched play. His ability to block and be invested in doing the dirty work. I love all that stuff about the fit there. So I just think he has to go somewhere where he's got such respect for the people around him. And there's nobody that he respects more in this league, obviously, than Tom Brady. Bruce Arians is another guy that I think demands respect from his players. I think it's a perfect fit for AB.
I'm blown away. I'm listening to this. I just want y'all to think this through. And I'm saying this in all seriousness. It sounds like a joke, but I'm being dead serious. I've seen AB on video talking crazy to women who've had his child. When we start talking about respect, AB doesn't respect anybody. And it's nice that he and Tom Brady get along, but this dude is the ultimate wild card. And I think, to me, dropping him into a receiving room that has guys that are that good in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I think that could really blow up. The guy couldn't get along with Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's much better than Juju. What's he going to do when these guys are in the prime of their career, maybe at this point just as good as Antonio Brown? I think that could be a very volatile situation. That's a me guy that just sat out a year, had his Hall of Fame credentials damaged. He's going to come into that situation desperate and wanting the football and wanting to put up the numbers he's used to, and it probably just won't happen in Tampa because there's an embarrassment of riches at the wide receiver position, And Tom Brady's going to throw the ball to the appropriate place, not to the guy that's complaining the loudest. I think that could be a very volatile situation for Antonio. I just don't think Tampa, with their receivers, is the right spot for Antonio Brown.
Now, the same reason you say that it's a bad place, I think it's an amazing place, because what really happened in Pittsburgh in terms of Juju Smith was the relationship with Ben Roethlisberger eroding, and then Juju Smith benefiting from that eroding relationship. And Antonio's like, hey, wait a minute. That's when owner's mentality comes in, when he's talking about his relationship with his quarterback. In this situation, Tom Brady wouldn't play him to the left. Therefore, he wouldn't have that anger, and that wouldn't be his issue. I think Antonio, the competitor in him, says, I'm better than everybody, but even if you don't give me all of the throws and I don't get all my numbers, at least it's because you think that guy is good or that guy was open. It's not you're trying to be passive-aggressive with me, therefore helping someone else out that doesn't necessarily deserve it in those moments.
I think there's one guy that has been on Antonio Brown's side this whole time, and that one guy is Tom Brady. And he has respect for Tom. He may not respect anybody else in the world, but Tom Brady has had his back since day one, and that's the one guy I think he would acquiesce to.
I disagree. All right, listen. Speak for yourself from the crib, presented by Hyundai. When we come back, the question of the day from Darnell. You want some coronavirus advice from me and Marcellus? Next!